Hey guys, girls, and NB homies, it's a forgery, but you can call me Church. Don't you love when mechanics are justified in the actual lore and world building of a game? I know you FromSoft perverts do. Ooh yeah, you love that thoroughly contextualized checkpointing, you dirty little gamer. But have you ever been doing a speedrun of Dragon's Dogma and thought, Portcrystals and Fairy Stones feel like an actual part of the world of Grancis, but I don't really know if they make sense in the lore? Well, let's figure that out so you can finally ejaculate and go to sleep. Let's get started with... Portcrystals and Fairy Stones work together to create the fast travel system in Dragon's Dogma. Portcrystals act as the waypoints around Grancis, with 2 free and permanent crystals placed within the Craftsman's district of Gran Soren and just outside of Cassardus. A 3rd permanent crystal is placed at the entrance to Bitter Black Isle when you finally travel there with Ulra. The rest are reusable items that are often given through main or side quests such as the Griffin Hunt or Celine's quest, respectively. These reusable Portcrystals can be placed in nearly any exterior spot at will for up to 10 custom fast travel points. And just don't try using a forged Portcrystal. It doesn't fucking work. Avoid the heartbreak. Fairy Stones are the exhaustible recall potions that allow you to travel to any set Portcrystal, or at least that's how we OGs know them. You spoiled kids with your Eternal Fairy Stones and your backwards hats. The Eternal Fairy Stone is actually great, and I use that shit all the time. So the inventory management of carrying around Fairy Stones has been bred out of more modern Dark Arisen releases of DD, but it's still available if you want to add the extra challenge that we all endured during the original release. But that's all the technical, mechanical shit about these items. Let's take a closer look and figure out... Let's start out by reading the item description of a Portcrystal. A marker to be placed anywhere one might wish to return. Use of a Fairy Stone will transport you there in an instant. Traversal item. Okay, yeah, no shit. Let's look at the Fairy Stone. A stone what may spirit the user back to Gran Soren, else the location of a Portcrystal in an instant. Okay, yeah, a little more flowery, but as usual, that tells me fuck all. So as always, I'm strapping on some assault boots and going into the field. First, we have to look at how the people in the peninsula actually use these items, and my conclusion is, they fucking don't. There are roads going everywhere in Grancis, ox carts just fucking litter the countryside, and there are active highwaymen. If people actually used this teleportation technology, those poor bandits would be out of a job. You don't want to leave poor Maul jobless. Let him live his gay communist dreams. Looking at the permanent Portcrystals on the mainland, they just built around the one outside of Cassardus, and the one in Gran Soren is just shoved in a fucking corner so Daddy won't see that we didn't use the dustpan. So if the majority of people don't seem to have access to this magical traversal system, how and why can our Arisen use it? Well, I think to answer that question, we need to take a look at some of the other glowing stones that only the Arisen can use. These Rift Stones. The Seneschal grants our Arisen the use of Rift Stones after they fell a Cyclops as a test of will. Similarly, we are not able to use Fairy Stones until our arrival in Gran Soren, testing our will to not kill that fucking ox ourselves. And when we finally do use a Fairy Stone, the light it gives off is very reminiscent of our experiences in the Rift. With their iconic purple glow, it's also reasonable to guess that Portcrystals are somehow shards of a Rift Stone, or somehow connected to the Rift. I would also note that the Everfall is underneath Gran Soren, perhaps acting as a nexus for our fast travel. To me, it makes sense that the Arisen is using their Fairy Stones to access the Rift and travel to Portcrystals at will. And I think this little swirl design shared between Rift, Lift, and Fairy Stones was intended specifically to convey that idea. So what does this mean for the Arisen and the world? Well, if I've already lost you, be warned. This is where the video goes. The rift is beyond space and time. We already know that because Savin tells us that it connects to many different worlds in the Eternal Loop. So why can't we break through into those other realities using a fairy stone in Dragon's Dogma? Well, maybe we do. Like I said, one of the 3 permanent port crystals is located on Bitter Black Isle, a place only accessible to Arisen and pawns. Theoretically, when Damon rejected the cycle, he was flung out of it, coming to exist outside of all the worlds within the Eternal Ring, but accessible through the rift. Are there other worlds like this beyond the cycle and outside of the Seneschal's influence? Perhaps the rift is an infinite expanse, or maybe Damon's curse was simply strong enough to make space within our familiar cycle. And I do wonder if the moon will return in Dragon's Dogma 2 after the curse of Damon has been lifted. Maybe it's eternally trapped in the dimension of Bitter Black Isle, but that's just speculation. Check out my video on the history and religion of Grancis for more on that. For now, I think we can conclude that port crystals, fairy stones, and rift stones are all doors to the rift which only the Arisen can use as conveyance through the world. Anyway, as always, I'm probably not back, but like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more or if you just want to tell me you enjoy my shit. And as always, have a fantastic week. Love you. Bye.